Alors, bonjour à tous. Good morning, everyone. Merci beaucoup de vous joindre à nous. We're just going to wait a few more seconds again to let the people come in before we begin. But I could say from the get-go, thank you for joining. This webinar will be recorded, and so we can make it available to our other champions for later listening, obviously for your own consumptions if needed. We're going to try to keep this under 45 minutes. So again, the goal is to get you as much information in a short period of time and get you on your way. So again, merci beaucoup de vous joindre à nous. À peu près 45 minutes pour le webinaire aujourd'hui, couvrir un peu beaucoup d'informations et puis vous laisser quitter après cela. So I would like to, first of all, again, thank you. You have been great champion of the campaign. As you know, the time to act is now. Vous savez, le temps d'agir, c'est maintenant. Vous avez été des champions fantastiques pour cette belle campagne. And we're getting to a critical moment of this campaign. And this is why we wanted to get with you today to give you a bit of a background as to what is happening with the campaign, what are the next steps, and talk to you about the progress that we've achieved since. Alors, le but, encore une fois, de vous donner un petit peu une vue d'ensemble du progrès que nous avons eu sur la campagne et quelles sont les prochaines étapes qui vont suivre après ça. First of all, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. Those are the people that have given us money to help us with the campaign. Thank you very much. Merci encore une fois à nos commanditaires, ceux qui nous ont permis financièrement de supporter cette campagne, mais surtout, thank you to all of your champions, the people who continue to support the campaign. Merci à vous, nos champions de cette campagne. Notre succès ne serait pas possible sans votre participation, votre support. So, one of the first goals, obviously, in getting our champion engaged to sign the pledge was to drive more petitions to the change.org platform. Again, le premier objectif de nos champions, c'était, à travers leur engagement, d'assurer de plus en plus de signatures sur les pétitions en ligne sur la plateforme change.org. And I'm glad to tell you today that our efforts have yielded some great results. I should tell you that we have been working with various groups to help us, including Sparks Advocacy. Sparks Advocacy is a sister group to Summa Strategies, who's providing us government relations support. And they have obviously put a lot of efforts into social media engagement. And with the support of a champion who's made this now very much a broad issue, great spikes into the recent number of signatures. Alors, encore une fois, nous avons travaillé de concert avec nos partenaires de Sparks Advocacy, un groupe, encore une fois, qui est en fait la petite compagnie sœur, si on veut, du groupe de Summa, qui nous offre des services de support en relations gouvernementales. Et vos efforts, combinés avec leurs sur les réseaux médias, les réseaux sociaux, ont permis en fait une grande accélération, vous le voyez, près de 23 000 signatures maintenant aujourd'hui, so close to 23,000 signatures now onto the petition. So this is great effort, and this is important, again, because we want to draw attention to the issue on the campaign in front of the government with the Bill C-11. Now, rather than give you some updates about what's happening with Bill C-11, its importance, let me bring in Rob LeForte. He's a senior consultant with with the Summa Strategy. And Rob and I obviously continue to work collaboratively a lot on this file. So Rob, but thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, JF, and it's good to be connected directly to your members and with yourself and Callie and Andrew today. I'm pleased to be able to provide an update on C-11, which just late last week was brought forward at second reading, which is progress, absolutely, and progress that wouldn't happen without the pressure of industry and the pressure of the public. I think a couple of steps back on this. C11 is certainly something that the aftermarket automotive sector has been pushing hard through the Your Car, Your Data campaign. And your staff, your supporters, and your customers across Canada have been part of supporting that. We've been proud to work with Spark on their efforts to promote that campaign digitally, primarily through advertised channels, and the increases that you just saw on that graph certainly, I think, speak to the fact that the campaign continues to gain traction. The public is extremely interested in this issue, and they want to know that their cars are going to be able to get fixed and on the road and maintained safely for decades to come. When you put it in terms that they understand, they start to really get the picture that this is something that could affect their pocketbooks. And that's when we start to see consumers motivated to take political action.
Je t'interromps simplement pour dire qu'effectivement, on parle ici qu'on a une belle évolution au niveau de la loi C11. Elle a été présentée en deuxième lecture au Parlement la semaine dernière. Donc, c'est bien parce qu'effectivement, notre campagne a attiré beaucoup, évidemment, d'engagement vers le gouvernement. Et comme Rob le disait d'ailleurs, c'est important la pétition parce que on fait une belle sensibilisation de la population au fait que, bien, écoutez, si on ne s'occupe pas de ça, ça va avoir des effets, évidemment, sur le coût d'entretien de vos véhicules. Et c'est là qu'on commence à avoir l'attention, non seulement de la population, mais également des politiciens. À vous, Rob.
Merci. And in addition to that, the AIA Canada leadership team has done a fantastic job. I'll make JF say that for himself en français, at engaging with the folks on Parliament Hill. So on top of the public-facing campaign and the committee, or sorry, the profession-facing campaign, advocacy work that has gone on has reached key target political officials, including Minister Campagne, his senior staff, folks in Minister Freeland's office at Finance and Intergovernmental Affairs, and key members of committees like the Transport Committee, the Industry Committee, and the Ethics Committee, where C11 will be debated.
Alors, encore une fois, ben, écoutez, Rob qui reconnaît effectivement, on a travaillé quand même très fort aussi à l'AIA avec le groupe de Summa. On a rencontré beaucoup de gens dans les départements, des politiciens, mais aussi effectivement des gens qui travaillent au gouvernement, que ce soit des gens reliés au ministère des Transports, au ministère de l'Industrie, les comités de révision de la loi C11, tels que le comité de l'éthique, entre autres. Donc, effectivement, on a eu beaucoup de meetings. En fait, Rob et moi, on a participé dans beaucoup de rencontres avec les élus et les membres ou les membres du staff, en fait, des différents départements pour s'assurer qu'ils comprennent bien l'importance de notre engagement et de nos demandes autour de la loi C11.
Two other initiatives that we think have moved this forward include a private member's bill on right to repair from Member Parliament Brian May, who AIA Canada met with in his role as the Auto Caucus chair for the Liberal Party. That bill we interpret as being technologically neutral, and that would have the effect of including automotive in its right to repair requirements. We also have heard that the government is considering for this budget measures that will be inexpensive for the feds, but able to help consumers and small businesses recover in the pandemic. In that regard, AIA Canada has written to Minister Freeland to encourage the government to adopt right to repair measures in the budget, and we consider the fact that the budget bill is more likely to pass in this session than potentially C11, as it's the one bill the government has to pass in order to stay in office.
Donc, c'est très important. Il y a deux activités parallèles dans tous nos engagements avec le gouvernement. Le premier, écoutez, il y a le député Brian May de la région de Toronto qui a présenté en fait là, une loi personnelle et c'est un peu orienté sur le droit à la réparation. Ça vient un petit peu en fait du comité, pas du comité, mais du côté en fait de la réparabilité des équipements agricoles. Mais comme le disait Rob, c'est quand même au niveau technologique assez neutre et donc ça vient vraiment aider notre cause. Évidemment, le député May qu'on avait rencontré, puisqu'il est également la tête dirigeante, si on veut, du comité du caucus de l'automobile pour le parti. Donc, des belles activités. C'est intéressant de voir ça. On suit ça de très près. Le deuxième aspect qui est important, une opportunité avec le budget. Donc, nous avons envoyé officiellement une lettre au ministre Freeland qui cherche en fait dans le prochain budget à ajouter des éléments qui ne coûtent pas beaucoup en fait au gouvernement, mais qui ont une belle valeur pour le consommateur et pour la classe moyenne. Alors, il est possible, on entend qu'il y aurait peut-être effectivement l'opportunité d'avoir certains éléments reliés au droit à la réparation dans le budget fédéral. Puis il faut être clair que bien que la loi C11 progresse, c'est sûr que le budget va passer, alors que C11, écoutez, on est toujours un petit peu à la remorque de la politique. Donc, c'est important de continuer à travailler sur d'autres plateaux et ça évolue beaucoup et on est très, très encouragé par ces deux éléments-là, effectivement.
Merci beaucoup pour l'introduction.
Merci beaucoup, Rob. Now, Rob, a bit of the next step, I guess, for us around C11, we might have the opportunity to, again, to table our petition with the government. Alors, il est intéressant que dans l'évolution de la loi C11, on va peut-être avoir l'opportunité de présenter officiellement notre pétition au gouvernement. But there's a bit of a caveat, I guess. It's a different type of petition that we have to do for this, Rob, correct? Alors, je demande à Rob, effectivement, c'est bien d'avoir une pétition, mais elle est différente. Alors, yes, tell us a bit about it.
For the House of Commons, to get a petition that is tabled and put on the record in the House of Commons, we have worked with members of Parliament who are willing to bring this petition forward, and it would be brought forward and made official in the government, in the Chamber. We need 5 signatories from the public, and we think it's best if that comes from leaders within the sector to really commit and affirm that that petition has support. Once that is confirmed, we'll be looking to all of you to help share that, to get signatures, not just from the public, but from people within your organizations to bring the petition forward. We look at pressure that builds toward a bill being passed, even sometimes introduced, or to budget measures as having many different factors. This petition is one that we understand will put increased pressure on the Liberals to do things that are good for consumers and that address the need to get the automotive aftermarket sector included in their privacy overhaul.
Oui. Alors, effectivement, le processus pour permettre à un député du Parlement de présenter formellement une pétition, puis de la présenter formellement au gouvernement. Donc, ça doit être supporté par un membre du gouvernement. Ça doit être signé au départ par 5 membres importants au central à l'industrie. Vous savez, les gens de notre conseil d'administration de l'AIA sont déjà prêts à remplir ces 5 signatures-là lorsqu'on sera prêt. Et puis après ça, de faire un appel à tous pour assurer le plus de signatures possible sur cette plateforme-là, qui, elle, évidemment, va être présentée au gouvernement. Et le but ici, c'est d'appliquer directement de la pression sur le gouvernement libéral pour comprendre l'importance liée à la réparabilité des véhicules. Et ça vient complémenter un peu notre pétition présentement qui est sur change.org, mais effectivement, c'est le dernier process. So this is a different process, Rob. We're not yet ready to launch this petition. I guess there's a few technicality before in front of us.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that we want to make sure that it's launched and it's effective quickly. So we view the opportunity of supporters in the AIA leadership group as having the opportunity to promote and encourage more signatures. So what we want to do is have leaders from AIA's board get involved early and be those signatories, and then give you communications messages that you can share directly with your staff, with your customers that say, I'm supporting this House of Commons petition. I'm proud to be one of the first signatories of it. And bringing this forward will get the issue introduced directly in the chamber. So, and I think, so politicians can't ignore it.
Right. So, encore une fois, le but ici, évidemment, c'est d'avoir les membres importants de notre industrie qui, de façon dynamique, dès le départ, rapidement, vont endosser cette pétition-là principalement là, pour la Chambre des communes et puis de continuer à montrer, encore une fois, au gouvernement que c'est un sujet important qui est supporté par beaucoup de noms de l'industrie et d'avoir cet engagement-là avec vos employés, surtout là, dès le départ. Et on s'attend évidemment à ce qu'on ait un bon support de nos champions. Vous êtes nos champions. Alors, c'est pour ça qu'on vous assure que vous faisiez partie de ce groupe-là. ça ne va pas venir mettre sur pause l'autre pétition qui continue sur Change.org, qui, elle, est beaucoup plus grand public et finalement au niveau de la mobilisation. So again, Rob, we're not going to stop the other Change.org petition. This is about public facing and education and mobilization. This one will be really about putting pressure specifically on the government, I guess.
Exactly. And all politicians want to look like they're in touch with the public. This is an incredibly supportive, public and consumer-friendly initiative. We also view it as something that is not going to cause a big stir between political parties. We think all parties can get behind it. And we have a conservative member who's very closely connected with one of AIA Canada's board members who's willing to bring it forward. And we think that this is as close to a nonpartisan issue as you can get, because all parties want to show that they're in support of consumer-friendly initiatives, automotive sector-friendly initiatives, and initiatives that create jobs and growth. So this is one of the reasons why we think this complementary petition is going to work beyond the education and the ground softening that has happened. Sorry, you'll have to translate that one, JF. Laying the foundation that has been done with the existing Your Car, Your Data petition.
En fait, c'est très clair ici que la pétition, c'est un bon signal pour les politiciens parce que vous savez, nos députés, nos élus, ils aiment ça, démontrer qu'ils sont bien connectés sur la réalité des gens. Et donc, une pétition comme celle-là vient un petit peu rencontrer ça. C'est de leur permettre de reconnaître effectivement qu'il y a un problème qu'ils veulent supporter. Mais écoutez, ça ne divise pas les gens au gouvernement. Notre sujet, en fait, rallie quand même beaucoup de support à travers les différents partis politiques. Donc, c'est pas quelque chose qui est très polarisant. Au contraire, il y a beaucoup de participants qui vont trouver une façon de venir se rallier à ce grand dossier-là. Parce que quelque part, ça supporte les économies locales, ça supporte les emplois locaux. Et donc, c'est facile pour les politiciens de le faire. Et on ajoute là, effectivement qu'on a présentement un député conservateur en Alberta qui connaît bien un des membres de notre industrie qui a effectivement indiqué qu'il est prêt à faire les efforts ou le processus nécessaire pour présenter la pétition à la Chambre des communes. Alors, on attend plus un petit peu, puis après ça, on va effectivement procéder à lancer cette autre pétition-là pour rallier encore une fois le support des gens autour du gouvernement. This is great, Rob. Thank you again. Don't go away, Rob. Stay with us. On va demander à Rob de rester avec nous quand même. Before we get going to the next part, I would like to take the opportunity to run a quick poll. As we know, it's always important to get the pulse a bit of our participant. So I'm going to ask Callie, which is sitting in the background, to launch a quick poll. And as soon as we have that completed, a few questions, try to get a sense of your engagement so far with the campaign, if you think the information is clear or not. So I'll let you, we're going to wait a few seconds and let the people vote on the poll. Kelly, I'm not seeing results. Oh, yeah, sorry. There was a bit of a delay, but I'm seeing the results coming in. You do tough questions, I guess. And talk about tough questions. Let's be ready because we have a heavyweight in our trade media circle coming and join us in a few minutes here. And it'll be tougher question, I guess. I'm expecting nothing less from Andrew Ross, just kidding aside. Alors, encore une fois, restez en ligne. Je sais que les questions ne sont pas faciles. On va être capable d'y répondre. Et puis, après ça, avoir évidemment des questions un peu plus difficiles de la part d'une figure prenante de nos médias, si on veut, sans l'industrie, avec Andrew Ross qui va se joindre à nous. I think we could share the result now. And so, great. I see some great results in terms of being able to commit to your pledge, that you've been able to access the toolkit. Interesting. So more focus again on the social media aspect of it. You've all found it to be easy to understand. This is great. Thank you very much for that feedback. This is much appreciated. C'est très apprécié de voir votre feedback, de savoir que la campagne pour vous, ça fonctionne bien. Alors, on passe à la prochaine étape. We're playing the next section. Chat Media and Andrew Ross have been early champion of this campaign. I'd like to take the opportunity to specifically thank Andrew Ross and Chat Media for having this engagement. I know you've been promoting the campaign, strong believer. You've been in the industry for a long time. You understand the importance of this issue. Je suis content de dire bonjour, en fait, aujourd'hui à Andrew Ross de Chat Media. Écoutez, c'est un des premiers champions qu'on a eu sur la campagne. Je sais qu'Andrew était dans l'industrie depuis de nombreuses années, un grand défenseur des droits de l'après-marché. Et donc, je trouvais que c'était facile de l'inviter à venir participer avec nous puis d'avoir une conversation un peu. Il aime bien ça, poser des questions. Alors, on va dire encore une fois, mais merci, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us today. I think there was a great natural fit to have you join us today. So, to ask us some tough question, I guess. Andrew, I think you are muted.
Unmute. Okay, you should be able to hear me now. There we go. Modern technology. Thank you very much for the very complimentary introduction, JF. I really do appreciate it. And as you said, this is clearly recognized by myself and our organization as being a key initiative, one that has, the timing seems to be really in its favor for an openness both on the part of the public as well as on the part of lawmakers, hopingly, that to get some really good things in place to help the consumers and the industry. Now this is doing pretty well. You mentioned that we've been pushing it, and making sure that people are on track with the signatures on the change.org petition. But we're just one organization. As you said, with more than 23,000 signatures and has doubled in a couple of weeks. What's the key to success of that component? And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the other things going on too.
Great question, Andrew. So obviously for us, the importance on C11 in the petition is to make sure the government understand that when they look at data in general, they need to make sure they understand that automotive aftermarket, the connected car is part of that conversation. And so by making sure that this is part of the conversation, what we want to achieve are essentially regulations and or legislation that will ensure that we continue to have direct access to onboard vehicle data for the aftermarket. So again, stated goal again, let's make sure we have some regulations or legislations in Canada that will ensure that we in the automotive aftermarket continue to directly access the information in the vehicle so we could safely and properly repair them. Ross, Andrew me pose la question à savoir c'est quoi vraiment l'objectif de notre campagne. L'objectif, c'est clair. On veut une réglementation, on veut des législations, des lois qui vont assurer que nous allons continuer dans l'après-marché à avoir l'accès direct à l'information des véhicules. Bien que ces véhicules deviennent des véhicules connectés, nous devons s'assurer de continuer d'avoir un accès direct à ces informations-là pour assurer la survie en fait de notre industrie.
Now, do you have a sense of who's actually engaged with the, obviously we have our industry champions, ourselves included, and we're, as an organization, primarily involved in engaging with the trade, obviously, with the industry. But do you have a sense of how much consumer engagement is on the issue right now versus, the very important engagement within the aftermarket?
Good question, Andrew. It remains primarily an industry issue, I would say. And obviously the focus of you as a champion, I think the pledge is to mobilize within the industry. But we have seen sign that it is getting more of the consumer concerns and engagement. And that's really reassuring because that issue is growingly becoming more of a consumer-focused issue. Because of our efforts, but also because also efforts of our sister associations around the world, and also because of the general conversations about data and the general conversation about right to repair. So it's not just about vehicle, it's about consumer electronic goods, it's about our cell phones. And so all of that is helping. In our own industry, I'd like to acknowledge the Recycler Association of Canada has become one of the champion and promoted. Thank you for all of them. Our good friends in British Columbia, ARA, have also embraced the campaign and also promoting the campaign. So is Air Ontario, l'ASPMQ au Québec, and autres. I don't want to name any particular, I guess I will. I know our good friends at OK Tire, as an example, give us the platform. We ended up on main news channel at 6 o'clock in Toronto, as an example. I know that the Point S in Quebec has done a great campaign on social media, as an example. Our warehouse distributors, the Napa, Uniselect, CarQuest of this world have worked really hard as well. So there's a lot of participants. Andrew me pose la question, est-ce que c'est vraiment les consommateurs qui s'engagent maintenant à signer la pétition ou c'est plus l'industrie? C'est sûr que c'est surtout nos gens de l'industrie qui sont engagés, mais avec nos efforts, ça devient de plus en plus quelque chose qui vient rejoindre le consommateur. Avec nos efforts soutenus, on voit que c'est pas juste ici, mais c'est aussi à travers le monde, d'autres associations comme la nôtre qui supportent la campagne. C'est aussi le mouvement global autour de l'information, des informations personnelles, du droit à la réparation. Hein. Vous savez que c'est pas juste les téléphones, les voitures, mais aussi les téléphones cellulaires, nos électroménagers. Donc, il y a un mouvement social global qui vient nous aider aussi. Mais je veux aussi prendre l'occasion de mettre en relief aussi le bel engagement de plusieurs membres de notre industrie. Les recycleurs au Canada sont officiellement un de nos champions. Les gens de OK Tire ont permis à l'association d'être mis en valeur. On a eu un spot aux nouvelles de 6 heures à Toronto. C'était très reçu, beaucoup visionné. C'était très intéressant. Tous nos grands distributeurs, que ce soit les Napa, Uniselect, les CarQuest de ce monde sont très engagés derrière la campagne aussi. Donc, c'est l'ensemble de nos champions qui font ça. Là, je parle dans les deux langues en même temps. I'm now starting to speak bilingual in the same sentence, something I've always said to my children not to do. But yeah, so we're having great engagement from the industry, but it is transferring into a little bit more of this public type of facing issue.
Right. Now, over the next very short while, members within the industry are going to start to see evidence of this other petition. Now, what's the for lack of a better word, to avoid confusion, that one is, maybe now moribund and one is something different, and just to maybe reiterate how the two are different, and the change.org, what happens with that while this other petition is coming forward?
Great question, Andrew. Encore la question d'Andrew, c'est qu'est-ce qui se passe? On va avoir deux pétitions, on se mélange un peu. Pourquoi pas une versus l'autre? So the petitions really are playing two different roles, and maybe I'll give Rob a bit of an opportunity to explain further on the House of Commons Petition process, which is a very much structured process with the government. The change.org was really about raising the profile, getting exposure, mobilizing, and making this whole statement of the time to act is now, and getting the pressure on the Minister Champagne to push on C11. So la campagne, évidemment, sur change.org, c'était vraiment un appel grand public, se mobiliser, permettre à l'industrie de bien comprendre l'enjeu et mettre un peu de pression, évidemment, sur le ministre Champagne autour de la loi C11. Alors qu'ici, maintenant, ce qu'on fait, c'est un autre processus qui est différent, qui est en fait contrôlé par la Chambre des communes à Ottawa. And so, Rob, if you want to maybe step in, again, clarifications on how that process works in the House of Commons. Why can't we just send the petition signatures from change.org to the government?
Thanks, Jeff. With the House of Commons, they've recently introduced, this is about 2017, a digital petition opportunity for Canadians to engage online. The digital petitions are a little bit different than their previous petition objective, and the digital petition is a little bit more targeted. It's not necessarily the goal of getting as many signatures as possible to generate results and interest. It's really about putting your statement on the record in the chamber. And to do that, that requires at least 500 signatures. And to get the petition into the system, you need at least 5 people to say they care about it. And we want those 5 people to be AIA's leadership team. The opportunity and the difference is this is complementary, and it's another way to get your most supportive audiences re-engaged. The people who were sending letters and writing petitions back in December and January were your most excited, and we want to see those people re-engaged. The social media advertising and online advertising that Spark is doing is very publicly focused, and we want to make sure that people who were engaged in the first wave of that start to see progress. So this opportunity wouldn't have even come forward if we hadn't been generating interest in the first place.
Right. Rob, so la description, encore une fois, c'est que ce système de pétition-là en ligne, qui est un nouvel outil que la Chambre des communes a introduit en quelques années, en 2017, je crois, est vraiment plus pointu en termes de son action et ses activités. Il faut encore comprendre que sans avoir eu notre initiative à travers la plateforme change.org, on n'aurait probablement pas été capable d'obtenir la possibilité de le faire à la Chambre des communes sur cette plateforme digitale-là, qui, encore une fois, va demander qu'elle soit soutenue par 5 signataires au départ qui vont supporter la pétition du député et suivi après ça d'un minimum de 500 signatures. So, Rob, I know we have a question here is that, do we need all associates to sign, or is it one per company? Is it public petition as well? So it is public, right, Rob?
Anyone can sign it, and we'd encourage you to share it as widely as you're comfortable sharing. The most important thing to get pressure on C11 in particular, that's coming from the opposition parties to push the government, I think, is to get this tabled quickly. So our goal is going to be to get to 500 as fast as possible, and then get it tabled. And the folks who are sponsoring this, they'll be willing to do that very quickly. The most important thing is, instead of chasing all the leads and promoting the concept broadly, as Spark is doing and as change.org is doing, we want to get the people who are going to quickly sign. So if you, your organizations could send this out to all of your staff, or to send it out to all of your facilities managers and branch or shop managers to ask their staff to get engaged, that's probably going to be the fastest way, just by sharing the link that we prepare.
Great. Rob, so it's about, en fait, effectivement, le but de la pétition, je pense, c'est la rapidité. Donc, où ce que nous, au niveau public, pour le change.org, on essaie de rejoindre le plus grand nombre de personnes possibles qui ont peut-être hésité à signer ou pas. Dans le cas de la Chambre des communes, on cherche les gens que nous savons que nous allons contacter, qui vont signer immédiatement. Et donc, c'est vraiment ça, le but de cette signature-là, ça va être d'en obtenir les 500 nécessaires le plus rapidement possible, en contactant les gens que nous savons, qu'on n'a pas besoin de convaincre, qui vont rapidement être capables de signer la pétition. Excellent. Back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I know we're getting close to the available time wrapping up here, but I did want to ask, I mean, Rob did mention that it's important to get this coming new official, for lack of a better term, official platform parliamentary petition out to the field within the industry very quickly. What is going to be available to make to facilitate that for primarily for the champions, but other organizations in the aftermarket, obviously, and what can they do to prepare to make sure that when that is available to be handed out, that we can get it out as quickly as possible?
Right. So, la question ici, encore une fois, c'est quoi le processus pour vous informer lorsqu'on va être prêt? Qu'est-ce que vous allez recevoir? Comment est-ce qu'on se prépare? So, the short answer is we're a bit at the mercy of our politicians and government, so I can't tell you when we're going to get that famous link of click here to get to the signature page. We're expecting that it could be, now, Robbie, it could be tomorrow, but it could probably be next week. But it's hard to tell right now when it's going to happen. We have already got a letter that explains what it is, what we're trying to do. We'll just need to add that link once it becomes active. So my best, I guess, advice to everyone is stay alert, stay posted. As soon as we have that information, we'll circle back to all of our champions to say, here's the House of Commons petition. Please go ahead, reach out to your inner circle of the people you know will quickly and rapidly and with little friction sign the petition. And so expect the communications from us directly to champion. Quite frankly, we feel we could get those 500 signatures through you guys. And so that's going to be the goal. Alors, encore une fois, le but, ça va être d'envoyer cette information-là à vous, les champions. Nous avons une lettre déjà prête à partir. Ça nous prend juste le fameux lien. Et évidemment, on est un petit peu à la merci là, des politiciens. Alors, je ne peux pas vous dire ça va être demain ou la semaine prochaine. Ça va arriver rapidement. Et lorsque ça va arriver, il va falloir se mobiliser assez rapidement. Envoyez ça aux gens que vous savez qui vont signer la pétition rapidement. Le but, ce n'est pas de faire une campagne qui dure longtemps, c'est de le faire rapidement. Et on est conscient ou confiant qu'avec le support des champions, on va les obtenir, ces 500 signatures-là, assez rapidement.
Just to add one thing.
Go ahead, Rob.
JF, when we want to do these things quickly, we will monitor them every day to see how close we're getting. And we may ask you, once you've sent one note to your staff, for a quick follow-up or two within that first week. I hope that we'll have something by the end of next week. We're just hoping, we've just delivered some materials to the sponsoring member. We will have to keep some pressure on people and keep reminding them very quickly at the outset to get to 500 as quickly as we can.
So again, oui, encore une fois, donc, le processus va arriver, écoutez, probablement peut-être vers la fin de la semaine prochaine, c'est difficile de déterminer ça. Ça va être évidemment, encore une fois, une question d'envoyer ça, je ne dirais pas à tous les jours, mais pratiquement d'avoir un cycle pour s'assurer qu'on fait le tour de tous ces gens-là le plus rapidement possible et d'obtenir ces 500 signatures-là de façon dynamique et rapide.
Sure. And just, I might sort of reiterate that, for some of the organizations, they may have to do some groundwork to prepare that distribution list for themselves, whether or not it's getting something in their systems for their people to prepare an email list out to their members or put it in the queue in anticipation that this is coming is probably a good step in the right direction. And certainly in the meantime, for our part, while we wait for this, we're going to continue to push the change.org petition. We do have a goal, or AIA does have a kind of extended goal of 100,000 signatures on that. It's almost 25% of the way there already. And is that kind of good direction to give the industry? Is to keep pushing on that one, and then when this official parliamentary petition comes, to make sure people understand that this is something different that they need to engage with us as well?
That's right. So, absolutely, Andrew. La question, encore une fois, là, c'est comment est-ce qu'on procède par rapport au Change.org? On s'était donné originalement un goal de 100 000 signatures. On est rendu à peu près à 25% du chemin. Comment ça se fait avec l'autre pétition? So, really, Andrew, they're complementary. 100,000 was really this aspirational goal of us. 25,000 is bringing us the attention we want. Doesn't mean we need to stop. We want to continue the pressure. We want to get towards, that 100,000 and continue to have this engagement as we see more of the public being more supportive. But at the same time is making sure that we could, without losing too much of focus on the public side, which we're also doing with Sparks, with other groups, pivot rapidly and just get those 500 signatures quickly into the House of Commons. That's right. So there's going to be 2 points, but we're going to our champion because you're the most educated, you're the most capable of understanding the nuances of all of this, and you understand and support the campaign already. So we're not going to blast, I guess, at large to the public this petition from the House of Commons. Mm-hmm. This is where Change.org will continue to play a role. This is really for us internally as a group of champions to make sure we can get those 500 signatures rapidly. Encore une fois, le but, rapidement 500 signatures, on continue la pression pour aller vers l'objectif de 100 000 sur change.org. Et encore une fois, on va mobiliser les champions seulement autour de la collection de ces 500 signatures-là pour s'assurer qu'on y va rapidement et qu'on n'a pas trop de confusion. On va continuer à faire de la publicité grand public pour change.org, alors qu'on va servir vraiment de nos champions, les gens qui comprennent et qui supportent notre campagne pour nous permettre de collecter ces 500 signatures-là pour la Chambre des communes.
Yeah, and just in closing, for my part anyway, how would you characterize the opportunity for success in this initiative?
This is great, Andrew, question. I've been, since starting with AIA, I've been more than five and a half years or so. And right to repair, telematics, access to vehicle data has been pretty much my number one and number two priority for all that time. And as we proceed through all these steps, I'm increasingly confident that we are going to be able to influence our future in a positive way. may sound like a politicians now, but the reality is all the elements of potential success are here. We have exposure, we have mobilization, we have signatures, there's a bill in front of government, there's a focus globally on right to repair. We get all the ingredients to be able to secure a better future for our industry. Écoutez, la question évidemment, c'est de savoir, bon, est-ce qu'on est optimiste? Et là, je le dis souvent, ça fait près de 5 ans et demi que je suis avec l'association. Le sujet du droit à la réparation, de l'information des véhicules, ça a toujours à peu près été ma priorité numéro 1 ou 2, personnellement. C'est important. Et je suis de plus en plus confiant qu'on est au bon moment, capable de venir influencer notre futur d'une façon positive. Tous les éléments sont là. On a mobilisé l'industrie, on continue la pression, il y a un projet de loi, le gouvernement commence à prendre notice de tout ça. Tous les éléments sont là. And Andrew, maybe I'll leave you with one last update on this. For the first time since we launched our campaign in November, officially Car Makers Association reached out to us and say, we need to talk. We had our first meeting, and all I could say is it's a very telling sign that automakers now feel the need to specifically engage. And it's refreshing to see because it's a different dynamic. Je vais juste ajouter un dernier élément, c'est que depuis que nous avons lancé la campagne au mois de novembre, tout récemment, pour la première fois, les associations des constructeurs automobiles du Canada nous ont rejoints spécifiquement pour nous parler de la campagne. Et ça, c'est un point très positif de voir qu'on a attiré l'attention des manufacturiers qu'ils veulent nous parler. So that makes us even more so positive for the future, but no question, we need to continue the pressure, the fight, and who's better to acknowledge the great work of our champion for making this happen. So, encore une fois, oui, on a un beau succès, mais c'est en grande partie grâce à nos champions. Il faut continuer d'être mobilisés et continuer la grande bataille qui est devant nous. I know, Andrew, I don't know if that probably makes a closing, but Andrew, thank you very much for participating. Thank you for Chat Media to continue to be a great champion of the campaign. Rob LeForte, thank you very much from Succes Strategy to come in and join us today. Merci encore une fois, Andrew, et à Rob de s'être rejoint à nous pour ce webinaire. J'espère que vous l'avez trouvé intéressant. I hope you found this webinar interesting. Again, it will be recorded, so available for playback. So if some of you was not able to get to join us today, you'll be able to see it on demand. Encore une fois, le webinaire est enregistré, donc si vous n'avez pas eu l'occasion ou certains membres de votre équipe n'ont pas été capables de le visionner, vous serez capable de le faire encore une fois là, on demand. So on this note, I'd like to thank you very much for attending today. Encore une fois, je vous remercie de participer aujourd'hui. And until next time, keep up the fight. Again, jusqu'à la prochaine fois, merci encore de votre participation et de votre engagement.